Hello, everyone. How does one that spent time on welfare as a child grow up to be financially successful enough to be able to splurge on a phone game like Empires and Puzzles and own this beautiful home in the Caribbean? Was it the lottery, an inheritance, an insanely high paying job? No, it was not any of these. It was as simple as learning to become financially fluent and sound through basic principles that anyone can apply. Just like I enjoy sharing knowledge that I have learned while playing Empires and Puzzles, I also enjoy sharing knowledge on becoming financially strong through multiple income streams and smart investments. In addition to my books about Empires and Puzzles, one can also find my book, Build $1 Million Net Worth While Achieving Perfect Credit on Amazon. In this book, I detail all the secrets of my financial success. These strategies help me get ahead. Maybe they can help you too. Look for the link in the description below.
Welcome to another Empires and Puzzles books video. Today I want to give you a massive tip on some specific heroes to use in a specific way in 3-star and 4-star rush attack events. I've been wanting to do this video for a while. I've been putting some notes together to talk about this, and as today was just released, this week's tournament, which is a 4-star rush attack without any dark heroes, I thought this would be a perfect time to talk about this strategy. Now, please know I will be talking about some dark heroes, but that is because I'm talking about a strategy that you can use for any rush attacks for 3 and 4-star heroes. This is a super important tip. We're going to talk about 28 unique heroes that you need to start considering if you haven't considered them already, specifically for the rush events. So why rush? What's the deal here? So we know with rush attack, heroes are set to very fast. So very fast mana heroes are charged in 7 tiles, normally speaking. It's actually 6.5, but there is no half tiles, so you need 7 tiles, which is a regular 3-match, and then you need a 4-match or 2 3-matches and pop a dragon tile somewhere and get a 7th tile. Now, we know with 5-star events, if we have a level 11 mana troop that gives 9% mana increase, which is exactly what you need to drop a tile down to 6. Right? So that's fantastic. We have a 5-star rush event, or we're in war and we can use 4-star troops. We can use a mana troop, and it doesn't take much to get a mana troop up to level 11 for that 9% mana increase. But as you should be aware, in a 3-star event we can only use 2-star troop. There is no 2-star troop that does mana boost, and in a 4-star event we can only use 3-star troops, and although there's 3 different 3-star troops, there is no 3-star troop that gives a mana boost. So it would seem that we are all stuck at 7 tiles to get our teams charged up for rush attack, but that's actually not true. The reality is we just need to get to 9% mana boost, and there is a few key heroes that we can do this with. So, what are those heroes? They are heroes that are in the Druid, Monk, or Sorcerer class and have a costume. Why is this? And this is huge. Well, the Druid, Monk, and Sorcerers, the last emblem node, the 20th emblem node, gives a 4% mana increase. All the other classes of hero give 2%. And that 4% is huge and important. Why? Because when we add the costume bonus, if we fully max a hero's costume, we get a 5% mana increase. 5% from the costume, 4% from that last mana node, and we're at 9%. So the heroes I'm talking about, which I'll show you in a moment here, can all be ready to go in a rush attack in just 6 tiles, 2 basic matches. That is massive, and a bunch of them are healers, so that's super important to keep us alive, because we know how devastating rush attacks can be. So let's get into this and talk about these heroes. So who are we talking about? Now, one of the things we have to be careful about with the costume hero, we need to know which side we're emblem for and which side we can use in the event. All right, so for example, the first hero we're going to look at here is Sabina, the 4-star dark hero. Can't use her this week, but in general you'd be able to use her for other rush attacks for 4-star events. But Sabina, the regular Sabina, is a sorcerer. So she would get that 4% mana node at the end. So if you get her maxed to 20 emblems, you will get that 4%. And as long as you have the costume for her and have the costume maxed, you would get that 9% mana boost, and she'd be ready to go in 6 tiles. Now you have to be careful. You can't switch over to the costume side because it will not work there. And the reason that is the case is because when you flip the costume over, she switches over to Cleric, and Cleric only has a 2% mana increase. So with the costume bonus, you're at 7%, and you would be just shy of getting down to 6 tiles. So as we go through this, make sure you're concentrating on which side of the card. And I'm going to do these in order. I'm going to do the regular heroes first, and then the costumes. All right, so next hero up on 4-star is Lai Zhu. We know what a giant pain in the ass Lai Zhu is, especially as a tank. If you have her at 20 emblems and have her costume maxed, she's going to be ready to fire very quickly. So she would be one that I'm very interested in getting to 20 emblems. And I'll be candid and say I don't have many 4-stars that have emblems on at all. I just started leveling or embleming some 4s. When we get to the 3 stars in a bit, I do have a bunch of 3s that are maxed with emblems, and some of them I'm starting to max based on this information I'm sharing with you here. Just for the rush events, it's going to make a huge advantage for me. All right, so moving on, we're looking at Wukong, and this is the regular Wukong. Like I said, you need the costume and have it maxed, but that regular Wukong would become 6-tile deadly. Same with Cadman. He is a druid, so that last emblem node would give him that 4%. Got to have his costume. I'm going to say that every time for the most part. So Cadman is in there, and Melindor. So very important healer. Cadman is a very important debuffer. Melindor is also a debuffer, so they could be very helpful in a rush attack. But again, you got to have that costume maxed, and you got to have that last emblem node. Skittle Skull is a sorcerer, and normally a slow hero, but in rush attack very deadly. With 6 tiles, Skittle Skull suddenly wakes up and becomes a very important hero. All right, now we're going to flip. These are the costume sides. So this is a little challenging because we only add emblems to the front side of the card. So we want to know, we want to pay attention if we're planning on using the costumes in these rush attacks, how we're embleming on the front to affect the back. As long as we get to the 20th node, you'll still get that mana boost. So maxed costume and maxed emblems will get you to 6-tile deadly. So Cyprian costume. Now one of the things I'm not doing in this video is rating the heroes on how good I think they would be for rush event. I'm just letting you know which of these heroes, and there's only 28 of them divided between 3s and 4s that can do this little trick. Bold Tusk, the costume is a monk, and that is fantastic. He is one that I am embleming up. He gives that attack up. He's recovering health. Super important hero. So max emblem, max costume, he is ready in 6 tiles. Khalil, not one of my favorite heroes, but she becomes druid with her costume, and you could get her going. I'm just not a fan of burn damage, especially in a rush event. She's not one that I would be crazy about, but I don't like her in general. Chow is fast, and he is stealing some mana from the enemy, so he might be super important in a rush event. He can steal their mana. And he is druid with the costume on, so again, 4% mana node, and the 5% from the costume gets us to 9. Everybody's favorite. There's a lot of great 4-star healers out there, but Krill is totally badass. He's doing that healing, the reduced attack and reduced defense for the enemies. And again, sorcerer, you got to make sure you're paying attention to which side of the card you're giving the emblems to, but you get him to 20 emblems, he'll be ready in 6 tiles. Sonya, she's one of my favorite 4-star snipers, and with her costume on, she flips over to druid, still doing the damage, and now she becomes she's going to cleanse ailments. And again, you just got to make sure you're selecting the right card when you're in the event. The thing you don't want to do is go through the trouble of maxing the emblems and maxing the costume, and then you select the wrong hero when you get into the actual event. Kashrek, he is a beast and a pain in the ass. and he becomes significantly worse in a rush event. So he might be somebody worth looking at too. Again, just the costume becomes sorcerer. The main card would not be applicable, as the main card is a wizard and does not get that 4% mana node. So that is it for the 4 stars. Let's pop over and look at 3 stars. First one we're looking at here is Jahangir. He is an absolute beast in rush. He is a sorcerer, so we can get him down to the 6 tiles. 2 simple matches, and you are inflicting damage and burn on every enemy. It can be very fatal, especially considering there is no repost reflect heroes in 3 stars, so you're pretty safe to use these heroes that hit all. Going over to Bane, the first hero we all get in the game that's above 2 stars. Bane is a monk, so you can get him up to speed quickly too if you max costume, max emblems. Ganju, I actually prefer Ganju over Bane, I think, for a rush event because he's also reducing the mana of the target. So you can get him to fire real fast and kind of curb their ability to get some mana. Greymane, he's not a hero that I look at too frequently, but in this particular situation, he's going to be healing for some of the damage dealt, so that might be advantageous, and his main card is a sorcerer. Belith, one of my favorite 3-star healers. She is a druid, and she's one that I use often. If you look at my 3-star rush events, you'll see me using Belith, and sometimes I talk about the fact that I can get her up to speed in just 6 tiles. Brienne, now this is a challenging one for me because I'm more often using Brienne costume because I like the defense down, but that will not work for this trick because Brienne costume is not one of the 3 that we're looking for. She becomes a barbarian, and that does not do this mana trick, so you need to use the regular Brienne, which is increasing attack instead of decreasing their defense. But she's an option. Now, Friar Tuck is the only hero in the game that can do it both ways, meaning as the main card or as the costume. So Friar Tuck as a main card is Monk, which does this trick, and then when he puts his costume on, he becomes Druid, so he can still do the trick. Balthazar is a sorcerer with the costume. We're now going to start talking about the costume 3s. So again, make sure you're not looking at the main card for Balthazar. We want to look at the costume. And that is sorcerer. Get ready in 6 tiles. Oberon, same thing. Again, this one I don't know. Normally slow heroes are great when you make them very fast in a rush, but this is just poison damage over 3 turns, so I'm not super excited about Oberon being fast, but maybe he fits your play style. Hawkmoon, another super important 3-star healer, and she gives that incredibly important 30% attack up. So you're getting healing over time, boosting the attack, and sorcerer class as a costume, so you can get her to that 9% mana increase to get down to 6 tiles. And then Kalani, all allies are sharing this all allies share receive damage, and they get 50% attack. That could be super helpful in a rush event too. Again, make sure you're using the costume side. Costume Gunner, one of the most important 3-star heroes in the game. He's doing that important defense down to the enemy and doing shared damage with the enemy, so that can be super helpful in annihilating a team pretty quickly. And he is Druid with the costume on, so he gets to play the 9% mana game, as does Ulmer costume. He's giving a 48% attack increase and doing damage to everybody. Again, it's 3 stars, so there's no risk of reflect or repost, so Ulmer is fantastic in these events. And then Friar Tuck, I already mentioned both sides of Friar Tuck. This is the costume side with the Druid. And then Ishtak, another defense down hero. So it's really nice that the 3 stars have so many defense down heroes that fit into this trick, because you want to get the defense down and play before your other heroes. But Ishtak wearing the costume becomes Monk and can play that quick game. So I hope that is helpful for you. I use this trick all the time. I'm starting to build heroes in 3 and 4 stars. I'm paying attention to their emblems specifically for this, just to give me that extra added advantage. I hope this works for you.